Okay, good morning. We're here the morning after the 2010 Ellensburg Rodeo Hall of Fame induction banquet with Eddy Akridge. It's September 3rd. And Eddy, for the record, would you state your full name, date of birth, and place of birth for us?
Eddy Akridge. I was born on January the 8th, 1929 in Pampa, Texas, and lived there up till probably 13 or so before we moved out of Pampa.
Tell us a little bit about your folks, Eddy, and your family.
Oh, they were all ranchers all of my life. And my mom, she was born in Pampa. And my father, he was from down in around the Bowling Green, Kentucky area. And he came up to Pampa and they met and finally got married and had a family of 8 children. I was the 4th one of the group and had one brother older than I am, and then I had 6 sisters.
Okay. How many of them were here yesterday?
3 of them, a big surprise.
What a treat, yeah.
Yeah, I was totally overwhelmed when I came back. Saw them. I certainly wasn't expecting them.
That's neat. Orient us with Pampa. Where in Texas is it?
It's like 50 miles east of Amarillo, Texas, up in the Panhandle.
Okay, okay. 1929 you were born, so you came of age during the Depression, and how did that impact you?
Right in it. I didn't know anything about it, but it was
just the way it was, huh?
Just the way it was, yeah.
Yeah.
They picked a bad time to have me, I know, as another burden to them.
Well, it worked out. Your folks were ranchers and ranch people. Were they rodeo cowboys as well?
My dad roped a little bit in rodeos. He wasn't he didn't try to make a living at it, but if there was a roping event somewhere close around the ranch, well, they would take off on the weekend and go to it. But he didn't do it like for a living or anything.
Rodeo in the purest sense of the word. They
Yes.
have a contest at the weekend, but during the week they were making a living.
Yes, sir.
When did you first not attend the Ellensburg Rodeo, but when was it first on your radar, Eddy? Can you?
I think first time I came to the rodeo was like in 1950, I believe. I actually started amateuring in 45, joined the PRCA in 1948, and I guess then it was the RCA, and later changed to the PRCA. And
When you were amateur rodeoing in Texas, obviously you were acquainted with some of the RCA guys. Did they talk about the Ellensburg Rodeo? I mean, or was that?
no, I was back, like in Texas and Oklahoma, and I never did. There was no professional cowboys around, actually.
Okay.
It was just all amateurs till I joined the PRCA in 48.
Okay. So, yeah, there wasn't the crossover that we have today, the amateurs.
No.
Pro guys going to the amateur rodeos.
No,
now.
there wasn't.
2 distinct groups, and so when did you first know there was an Ellensburg Rodeo? When you went to enter in 1950?
I came out to the Northwest in the 50s and ran into the group of contractors, the Christensen brothers,
Sure.
Hank and Bobby, and they furnished a lot of rodeos here in the Northwest because they were from Eugene, Oregon. I met them and really liked them, liked the stock they had. And so when they came to Ellensburg that year, I came with them.
Okay. Do you remember, was that their first trip to Ellensburg? Or
I do not remember if that was their first trip or not.
But your acquaintance with them, it wasn't necessarily Ellensburg was a good rodeo or prize money was good. It was, but you came because of your relationship with the stock contractor.
The contractors, yes, sir.
That's interesting.
And really enjoyed it. So we came back every year.
Your professional career has been outlined many times, but give us a brief rundown of your credentials there, Eddie.
I was awful fortunate. Rodeo started off amateur rodeoing and kind of started off winning, and just kind of I was expecting myself to win wherever I went. And then when I joined the RCA, it happened the same way. I won the first one at Tucson, and I just kept winning, and I never did have any really bad slumps till.
As a result, that was your primary source of income, was
Totally.
horses. Yeah. Would you say that was unique in your era of rodeo?
Well,
most guys have.
A few guys, really don't do that just for a living then, but that's all I relied on, was the income from it. And it would get thin at times.
Sure. Yeah. Name some of the fellas you rodeoed with.
Oh, Casey Tibbs for one, and I've rodeoed a little bit with Deb Copenhaver, and there was a boy here from John Day, Oregon, Sonny Turman,
Sure.
and Jackie Wright. That was the kind of crew I kind of ran around with at that time.
Okay. Sonny, was it Sonny's cousin or brother, Dick Turman? Did you ever know Dick? He lived here in the valley, still does.
I never did hear Sonny talk of him,
Okay.
but I kind of copied my bareback riding after I got to rodeoing for a while from Sonny.
Uh-huh.
I liked the style he used, and he would win consistently, so I kind of copied after him.
Sounds like consistency was something that you strove for. It wasn't 90-point ride.
Pretty good, yeah.
And buck off the next.
That's right. I would generally get in the money, or I'd hit the dirt.
Okay. Yeah. Was it like it is today, Eddie, in that during the fall, the Northwest is where most of the guys stayed, or?
Well, it was kind of funny back then. There was this few of us would always rodeo back in the Middle West, and further back east during the summer at their rodeos, and a lot of us just come to the Northwest. Mostly they'd go to where a contractor had good bucking stock that you'd have chances of winning on. And I just liked the stock the contractors that the Christensen brothers had. And you get to know them real well. And
were the horses bigger and stronger in this country, or just fit your style better, or ranker? Or?
No, they had bigger stock more or less back in Montana.
Okay.
And we'd run into them in the fall when we went back east to the Garden, and I would say they were bigger, yes.
You talk about during your rodeo career, Madison Square Garden, Boston Garden, the LA Coliseum. Don't even have rodeos there anymore, do they? They're small ones.
They've cut down the rodeo at Madison Square Garden, I think, quite a bit. And also at Boston, as far as I know. I don't know if they even have one in Boston now or not.
Well, your preference, did you like those big Coliseum rodeos, or did you like a big...
It was exciting. It was a lot of... That Coliseum held 106,000, and it was noisy, and it was... I enjoyed riding there. Especially if you win, you do enjoy it more.
You got it. You got it. One of our questions here asks you what you like best about the modern Ellensburg Rodeo. You haven't been here since, you said, 1959, so...
It's been like, I think, as I recall, I think 56 was the last time I was at Ellensburg. I may have been back here in 59, I just don't recall it. But I know right now, looking around, it's certainly changed.
Yeah. you been over to the arena yet?
Not yet.
Okay, yeah, you'll remember a big, it was Ellensburg when you competed here, a large arena, an average sized arena, or, I know it wasn't a small arena.
It seemed like it was average size,
Okay.
maybe a little larger arena than some of the rodeos. Not anything like Pendleton, but
Sure. Yeah, when you walk over there, you'll be surprised. It's like they want that Coliseum feel in their outdoor rodeo now, where the spectators are right down on the arena floor. And,
yeah, that makes it much nicer for them.
a lot smaller. What are some of your best memories of the Ellensburg Rodeo, Eddie?
Well, each time winning was
Obviously winning.
obviously, and especially the time when I won the all-around. We were making this, I don't want to say a cuss word, but Walla Walla and Ellensburg together. And I didn't have a very good horse, Drew, for my second bareback horse. And I was debating whether to come back over or not, and finally I decided, yeah, I will. So come back, and he bucked pretty good, surprisingly. The one I had, he generally didn't buck, wasn't one of the top of the lines, but
Sure.
he bucked pretty good, so I scored pretty good on him. Then I had to get on my saddle bronc, and he bucked good, and got me into that top. They'd had a top 5 to do an extra exhibition, I guess, more or less, and so they put up $400, I think they did. So I won that, and ended up letting me win in the bareback riding and the all around, and saddle bronc riding.
So you won all 3 events,
Mhm.
or both events and the all around. Do you remember? Did they probably didn't let that exhibition contest figure in on the all around points, did they? Or
Yeah, they did.
that made the difference. Or
Mhm.
Yeah, sure. Huh. Did they have it in all the events? Do you remember? Was it
No, just the saddle bronc riding.
You know, was calf ropers give you any trouble about that, or
No, they.
for you probably?
It's funny. Billy Hogue is a dear friend of mine, and they awarded him the all around to start with, and then I guess after that bronc riding, and they re-added up the total amount of money won again, and I think I beat him by $80. I've been around Billy later in years, but we never did talk about that. He didn't want to bring up the subject.
He didn't bug you for a steak dinner or anything. Well, Eddie, do you have any parting words or thing you'd like to say about the Ellensburg Rodeo before we?
Well, I just appreciate them so much for what they bestowed upon me for entering me into the Hall of Fame up here. That was a great, great honor. And I appreciate that more than anything I can think of.
Yeah, deservedly. I've got to admit, I grew up and competed as a timed event person, and didn't know a great deal about Eddy Akridge before this induction, but I've learned a lot, and I'm glad I did.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure.